Welcome to the Rudick Report. Today is Friday, April 28th, 2023. If you can, please support this channel by buying me a cup of coffee or by visiting my affiliate links. Your help is greatly appreciated and helps us to continue to provide content. The corporate layoffs are escalating as predicted, with the largest companies in the United States giving the boot to hundreds of thousands of workers. The Federal Reserve was warned repeatedly that if they aggressively raised interest rates, they were going to create a harsh economic environment, and that is exactly what is continuing to unfold. We haven't seen this many layoffs since the 2008 financial crisis, and the expectations for the months ahead is not just bleak, it is extremely bleak, as this now global economic crisis unfolds. Many warned the Fed that it would be mistaken to push interest rates higher just as we were entering a major economic downturn, after years of pumping liquidity into the markets with quantitative easing. But of course, the Fed didn't want to listen and moved forward with their plan to raise interest rates, understanding full well that this would cause inflation, massive layoffs, and put the economy into a tailspin. And that is exactly what is happening. The Federal Reserve continues to get it wrong and has now assured that the financial crash that is currently unfolding will make the Great Depression look like a picnic. What we are now witnessing is a nightmare scenario that is happening in slow motion until it's not. There are hundreds and thousands of jobs that have been lost since the beginning of the year. According to Challenger Gray and Christmas, during the first 3 months of this year, job cuts in the United States were 396% higher than they were this same time a year ago. But the White House and their minions, with their staged and aligned talking points, tell you that everything is going to be okay and that the economy is strong. Well, I have news for you. The economy is in the toilet and getting worse daily. Tell me something. Jobless claims are at a 17-month high. Pending home sales are at a 23-month low. The dollar is down for 6 out of the last 7 weeks. Credit card companies are showing record profits because people are living on their credit cards, and personal debt is at an all-time high and climbing. Every single leading economic indicator is pointing lower, yet the markets go up. Have you stopped to think why this is happening? Well, the answer is quite simple, but most are completely unaware, and that is that the Fed has been pumping hundreds of billions of dollars into the markets to keep them artificially high. And as you can see, even that plan is hardly working anymore, and the strain of the failing economy continues to degrade, even with the Fed taking extreme actions to keep the illusion going. Without question, the Fed is the buyer of last resort. And what that means is that no one is buying our debt anymore, and the Fed is buying our own debt. Both Janet Yellen, who can't seem to answer a question without looking at her personal notes, and Jerome Powell have become a laughingstock, and yet the markets hinge on every word as if it has any validity anymore. It's all a show. In an announcement on Thursday, outplacement company Challenger Gray and Christmas reported that in total, companies have announced nearly 90,000 layoffs in March, a huge increase from the previous month and a giant acceleration from a year ago. Planned layoffs totaled 89,703 for the period, an increase of 15% from February alone. Year-to-date job cuts have soared 270,416, an increase of 396% from the same period a year ago. The damage was especially bad in tech, which has announced 102,391 cuts so far in 2023, and that number will no doubt increase. That number represents a staggering increase of 38,487% from a year ago. Between these numbers and the new ones that hit the books every day, take a moment to digest those figures, because they are absolutely staggering. This isn't a minor shift in the employment market. This is a collapse that is unfolding right before your eyes. But like I said earlier, Biden and his minions continue to tell us that everything is fine, which everyone who can walk upright understands is a total lie. And these morons will continue to tell you that until it will be much too late to take any action. I believe the point of no return is rapidly approaching. Because of poor economic decisions, they have painted themselves into a corner. If they keep printing money, inflation will continue to rise, but they know without it, the economy will crash. Some have even said this is why they are pushing so hard for war. This way, they can blame the crash on the war and no one will be none the wiser. It It would probably work, as most people are sheep and will believe anything that television tells them. Here is the likely scenarios that could unfold and how we should prepare. Of course, this is not financial advice, but this is just my opinion. Bank runs may continue. Americans will want to get their money out of the bank as the value rapidly drops, to either invest in other currencies or to get precious metals while they can still use the dollar to do so, or even to buy food and necessities to last long enough for the initial shock waves to pass. It may make sense to take some money out and have it on hand so that you won't have to wait in lines when it does happen, or find that if you do eventually get to an ATM that it's out of money. The government may do capital controls. It's important to act now because if the government implements capital controls, then they would prevent private citizens from converting their dollars into foreign currencies to protect from the dollar collapsing even further. They truly don't give a crap about you and your problems. They will implement these controls to control the collapse, all at your expense. Rising unemployment. Unemployment could rise dramatically as manufacturers find it impossible to purchase needed parts from other parts of the world, which would increase in price dramatically, forcing them to close their door or limit their staff to bare-bone numbers. Add to this the fact that the United States basically has no manufacturing base anymore, since we have outsourced everything. Imported goods will cost more, so Americans would be paying significantly higher prices for everything. There would also be supply issues with food as well, because the cost of purchasing food is tied in large part to the price of oil, which would now have to be purchased with expensive foreign currencies. The price of food would skyrocket. I've always encouraged my listeners to buy a little extra food whenever they visit the grocery store and to store it away. It is a wise and responsible thing to do. If the economic collapse begins to accelerate, having extra food put away would reduce your stress level somewhat, knowing that you don't have to wait in food lines or have to pay 4 or 5 times or maybe even more for the same items. Put some food away now. What is the worst case? You'll have some extra food lying around that you can eat anyway. Also, in an extreme case, martial law could be enacted because people would lose their minds if money or food or necessities were not available. Protect yourself, get in shape, stay in shape. Prepare mentally and physically for this eventuality so that you are not blindsided by these events when they occur. The bottom line is this: the economic collapse and death of the dollar is coming much sooner than anyone forecasted. With multiple countries with huge global economies now working together to eliminate the US dollar in trade. Also, with the BRICS nations expanding and working toward the creation of an alternative currency, the dollar's days of being the world's reserve currency are coming to an end. So, get extra food, get extra water, get cash for emergencies in case there's a run, and if possible, get out of debt and move some money to precious metals. There are many reputable companies to buy from. Some include JM Bullion, SD Bullion, and Money Metals. You can use whoever you think's best, but just take some action before you can't. Thanks for listening, and until next time, this is the Rudick Report.